Here we are scanning the training center at Modena in Cape Town. Just catching a few targets. Note this wall is curved. We'll pick that up on the scan. It's not plumb. There we go.
Hello, welcome to this very quick short tutorial covering the topic of how we can align our point cloud information to a particular point inside of Revit, to a known point inside of Revit, using coordinate values. So I have a house that has been modeled up in Revit, and there is a training room inside this wall over here that I'm particularly interested in. So I'm just going to apply a section box to this view quickly so I can crop it down to see inside it. So I'm going to pull this down in the vertical plane. I'm exposed inside of this training room so I can get a better look. Okay, so this was done first. This whole model was designed first inside of Revit, and then just the other day we 3D scanned this room. Okay, so the scan took plus minus about 5 or 6 minutes to complete. And we gathered that information in a point cloud. Okay, so now we want to align that to this exact room inside of Revit just by importing it and bringing it in. We don't have to move it after the fact. Okay, we want it to automatically fall into the correct position. So inside of this Revit model, what I'm going to do is identify a point that I want to collect the coordinates of. And it's going to be that point right there, the edge of that windowsill. So I'm going to drop down 2 values. I'm going to select the spot elevation. I'm going to grab effectively the Z coordinate value out of that. And then I'm going to drop down a spot coordinate value at that same point, which is going to give me a north coordinate and it's going to give me an east coordinate. Effectively, my north and my east is my x and my y. So I have my x, y, and z values that I can now actually input directly into that scan on the DotProduct 3D scanner itself. So on that tablet, there's a piece of software called Fire 3D, and inside there, we have the ability to specify coordinates at a point. So we go into our scan, we select that point, and we enter our x, y, and z values. So I'm going to go to that scan, and I'm going to open it up in Autodesk Recap. Okay, here is that point cloud information that I received directly from the scanner. So as you can see, it's coming not attached to the 0, ground plane over here as you would expect. Because we've already input the coordinate values directly into this model, it's come to the correct place straight away. Okay, so all we have to do from here is we need to export this. And we can do that just by saving it. So I'm just going to save this, and I'm going to save it as an RCP file, which Revit will recognize. So I'm going to save it as training room A, save it, and I'm going to overwrite the existing file. I'm going to switch back to Revit, and I'm going to insert that information. So from my insert tab, I have point cloud. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to navigate to my training room where I have saved it. This part is important. The positioning does need to be set to origin to origin. Okay, or to origin to origin. If it is center to center, just change it to origin. I'm going to open that up. And you can see that that point cloud information falls exactly where we want it inside that point over there. Right, so there is some alignment issues here that we will have to deal with. So very simply, we can just select the top over here on our view cube, go to top down view, and I'm going to select this point cloud information, and I'm going to activate my move tool, and I'm just going to select the point cloud information and move that onto the wall. Okay, now as you can see, it's lined up pretty perfectly. One thing we did notice from the scan though is that the traditional method of surveying, which was done with this Revit model over here, we noticed that the scan returned a value that was 700 mils shorter than the surveyed distance. So the scan is correct. We did have the Leica camera up there and we measured that distance and the scan was correct. So we found that this model obviously needs to be adjusted. So in Revit, very simple to obviously do that. I'm just going to select all the elements that are concerned with the back of this wall, as well as this information over here. Okay, now I could have done this from a floor plan view, but just so we can see it better, I'll do it from 3D. So I'm going to just grab all of that information, and I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to nudge that information into place. Okay, so I can get a better view, and I can just continue to nudge that information until I'm happy with it. Okay, and just like that, we've got it complete. So this scan was done in about 4 or 5 minutes, and it's returned some extremely valuable information. This is obviously kind of replacing the need to use traditional scans. We can just go in there with the scanner, a few minutes at a time, and we can come out with a finished product that we can import into Revit and we